My dear brothers and sisters, if you are seeing this message, then perhaps Allah has sent it to you at this very moment. Perhaps it is a reminder that your journey is not unnoticed, that your struggles are not random, and that your efforts are not in vain. Allah does not leave His servants wandering aimlessly in the darkness. He places signs in our lives, moments of clarity, small nudges that are meant to guide us, inspire us, and redirect us toward the path He has chosen for us. Sometimes the signs are subtle, a verse that suddenly catches your eye, a conversation that shifts your perspective, a feeling of hope that arrives just when despair feels overwhelming. Other times they are unmistakable, powerful, and undeniable. But what matters most is that the believer recognizes these signs and responds with faith, gratitude, and action. The struggles you face today, no matter how overwhelming, are not meaningless. Every challenge you experience is part of Allah's wisdom and planning for you. Perhaps a delay in your career is protection from a path that would have harmed you, or a broken relationship is clearing space for someone far better. Perhaps the health challenges, the financial struggles, or the emotional burdens are shaping your character, strengthening your patience, and preparing your heart for future blessings. Allah says in the Quran, "Do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful." Your present difficulty may feel endless, but every hardship carries a seed of mercy, a hidden opportunity, and a lesson meant only for you. Responding to these moments requires trust, surrender, and faith. When life feels uncertain, when your mind races with worry, and when your heart questions the fairness of circumstances, you must remember that Allah is closer than your jugular vein. He knows the unseen, He understands the unseen battles in your heart, and He has already written the chapters of your life with wisdom and mercy. Surrender does not mean passivity, it means placing your reliance fully on Allah, taking conscious steps forward, and trusting that He is guiding you to what is best. When you align your heart with this understanding, even the smallest signs from Allah become powerful sources of hope and motivation, pushing you toward patience, gratitude, and action. Real-life stories remind us that divine guidance is constant, personalized, and miraculous. A student who failed repeatedly yet never gave up, found the right opportunity in an unexpected place. A person who was struggling with loneliness felt a profound sense of purpose after an encounter that seemed coincidental, but was perfectly timed. A family who faced financial hardship experienced sudden relief through a path they had never imagined. These stories illustrate that Allah's interventions do not always arrive in ways we anticipate, but they always arrive at the right moment, transforming despair into hope and confusion into clarity. Finally, preparation is essential to receive the blessings Allah has written for you. Cleanse your heart of doubt, bitterness, and fear. Strengthen your mind through prayer, dhikr, and reflection on the Quran. Take small but consistent steps toward improvement in every aspect of your life. Align your actions with sincerity, your intentions with purpose, and your heart with trust. When you prepare in this way, you create the conditions for mercy, guidance, and opportunities to enter your life with full force. What Allah has written for you cannot be delayed, diverted, or diminished, but your readiness determines how fully you can embrace it. The moment you recognize that a message, a sign, or a reminder is meant specifically for you is a turning point. It is the moment when despair begins to fade, hope begins to rise, and your heart becomes open to the immense mercy Allah is ready to pour upon you. Every sigh, every prayer, every tear, and every struggle has led you to this point, and the next chapter in your life, written by Allah, is already being prepared. Every day, Allah communicates with His servants in ways that many of us overlook or dismiss as coincidence. These signs are not random, they are divine reminders tailored specifically to guide, comfort, and awaken the heart. Sometimes the signs are subtle, like a verse from the Quran that catches your attention at precisely the right moment, or a fleeting thought that nudges you toward reflection. Other times they are more profound, a conversation with a stranger, a sudden opportunity, a feeling of clarity in the midst of confusion, or even a challenge that seems overwhelming but carries a hidden lesson. Allah's guidance is woven into the fabric of everyday life, and the believer who is attentive can read these signs like a map, directing them toward peace, purpose, and blessing. Recognizing these signs requires awareness, mindfulness, and a heart tuned to Allah. The human mind is often preoccupied with worries, distractions, and worldly concerns, making it difficult to see the hand of Allah in daily life. Yet the signs are there for those who look with sincerity. A small reminder of gratitude in the morning, a quiet moment of reflection during a busy day, or even a dream that leaves a lingering message, can all be channels through which Allah speaks. These moments are not merely coincidences, they are Allah's way of reaching out, guiding you toward decisions actions and realizations that you may not arrive at on your own. Recognizing them is the first step in a life of conscious submission, a life where each experience carries meaning and direction. Allah often uses ordinary events to send extraordinary messages. A failure may point you away from harm, a delay may protect you from loss, and a closed door may guide you to something far greater than you could imagine. These are the signs of Allah's mercy in disguise, designed to shape your path with wisdom that only He can see fully. When you pause to reflect on your experiences, you may notice that many moments that seemed disappointing or confusing at the time were actually blessings in disguise. A missed opportunity may have preserved your dignity, a broken relationship may have opened space for a healthier connection, or a moment of hardship may have strengthened your character. The believer who reflects in this way begins to see life not as a series of random events, but as a carefully orchestrated plan, where every moment carries purpose. The Prophet ﷺ taught that Allah's signs are abundant, and that recognizing them requires a heart that is soft, attentive and humble. The Quran repeatedly reminds us to observe, reflect and seek understanding in the world around us, for in every event there is guidance. When a person begins to actively look for Allah's signs, even small moments can become transformative. A glance at the sky during a sunrise can inspire hope, the laughter of a child can remind you of blessings, and a gentle act of kindness can renew faith in humanity. These signs are everywhere, and their purpose is to remind the believer that they are never alone, that Allah is always present, and that even in moments of hardship divine guidance is available. Recognizing divine signs also trains the believer's heart to trust Allah's timing. When you notice these messages, you begin to see that life unfolds according to wisdom that is beyond human comprehension. Patterns emerge, opportunities align, and doors open when you are ready to receive them. This awareness fosters patience, gratitude and humility, allowing the believer to approach life with a sense of calm and certainty. Each sign, whether large or small, is a gentle reminder that Allah is aware of your struggles, attentive to your prayers, and always working for your benefit, even in ways that are invisible at the time. By seeing the signs in everyday life, the believer learns to navigate challenges with hope, to embrace uncertainty with faith, and to respond to trials with resilience and trust. Every struggle, every delay, every difficulty you face has a purpose, even when it is invisible to the human eye. Life often feels random, chaotic or unfair, and the mind struggles to understand why certain doors remain closed while others seem to open so easily for others. Yet Allah reminds us in the Quran that everything happens according to His divine wisdom, that every hardship is tailored for the individual, and that nothing reaches you without His knowledge and decree. The challenges you experience are not mistakes, oversights, or coincidences. They are part of a carefully planned journey meant to shape your character, strengthen your faith, and prepare you for what is best. A delay in your plans may protect you from harm, a disappointment may safeguard your heart, and a trial may teach you lessons that will later reveal themselves as blessings. Often people view struggles as punishment, as a reflection of failure, or as proof that they are undeserving. Shaitan thrives on this thinking, whispering lies that make a believer feel hopeless, unloved, or incapable of achieving their dreams. He amplifies pain, magnifies mistakes, and convinces the heart that nothing good can come from hardship. But the truth is that every difficulty carries hidden wisdom. Allah tests the heart to reveal strength, patience and reliance on Him. The Prophet ﷺ said that no fatigue, illness, worry, sadness, harm, or grief strikes a believer, even the prick of a thorn, without it being a means of expiation for their sins. This means that struggles are not arbitrary, they are purposeful, merciful and transformative. They are moments of divine investment in your soul, preparing you for a life of greater resilience, insight and peace. Understanding that struggles are purposeful shifts the perspective from despair to hope. When you stop seeing difficulties as meaningless and begin to view them as lessons or opportunities, your heart starts to adjust. You begin to seek solutions with patience instead of panic, to reflect with clarity instead of confusion, and to pray with sincerity instead of desperation. Every obstacle becomes a teacher, every setback a guide, and every waiting period a preparation for the mercy Allah has written for you. A delay in a relationship may be a protection from heartbreak, a postponed promotion may be the path to a better opportunity, and a long period of struggle may cultivate patience, humility and gratitude that would be impossible to develop otherwise. Many people fail to see the blessings hidden in trials, because they focus solely on the outward outcomes instead of the inner transformation. A person who loses a job may feel hopeless at first, but in reality this loss might lead them to an opportunity that is more aligned with their skills, values and purpose. A young student who faces repeated failure may develop resilience, discipline and character that allow them to achieve success far beyond what they initially imagined. A family facing hardship may discover unity, compassion and trust in Allah that they never would have cultivated without the struggle. Every difficulty has a hidden benefit, but it requires awareness, reflection and faith to uncover it. The key is to trust that Allah's timing and wisdom are perfect. What seems delayed is not denied. What seems unfair is often protection. What seems challenging is often preparation. The believer who understands this does not allow despair to take root. Instead, they respond with patience, gratitude, and consistent effort. They make dua with sincerity, act with responsibility, and reflect with mindfulness. Struggles become stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. The heart becomes resilient, the mind becomes clear, and the soul becomes prepared for the next stage of life. Understanding that your struggles are purposeful allows you to navigate life with hope, confidence and surrender. Knowing that Allah is orchestrating everything for your ultimate benefit, responding to life's signs with faith and surrender, is one of the most transformative acts a believer can perform. When challenges arise, when delays persist, or when uncertainty clouds your mind, the natural tendency is to panic, to question, or to resist. Yet Allah teaches that true power lies not in controlling every circumstance, but in surrendering to His wisdom, while maintaining hope and action. Faith does not mean passivity, it means aligning your heart, mind and actions with the understanding that Allah is in control of all things. Surrender means trusting that even when you cannot see the path, there is a guiding hand, leading you toward what is best. This combination of trust, hope and action creates a state of inner peace that is unshakable, even in the face of trials. The Quran repeatedly emphasizes reliance on Allah, reminding believers that those who trust Him will be guided. When you respond to life's signs with faith, you are acknowledging that your understanding is limited, but Allah's knowledge is infinite. This acknowledgement is liberating, because it shifts the focus from anxiety over outcomes to confidence in Allah's plan. A believer who embraces surrender is not giving up. They are releasing the illusion of control and opening their heart to divine guidance. They recognize that setbacks, hardships and delays are not indicators of failure, but opportunities for growth, spiritual refinement, and divine wisdom. By surrendering, the believer positions themselves to receive the blessings Allah has prepared, often in ways far greater than they imagined. Responding with faith also requires consistent remembrance of Allah through prayer, dhikr, and reflection on the Quran. These practices anchor the heart and mind, allowing a person to approach challenges with clarity rather than fear. When doubts or anxieties arise, a believer returns to Allah, seeking guidance and reassurance. The act of turning to Allah, even in small moments, transforms fear into courage, confusion into understanding, and despair into hope. For example, a person facing a career challenge may feel overwhelmed by uncertainty, yet by seeking guidance through prayer and contemplating the signs Allah has placed before them, they can see opportunities they would otherwise miss. Faith opens perception, while surrender aligns effort with divine timing, creating a flow where progress becomes inevitable. Faith and surrender are also active forces in shaping decisions and actions. A believer does not wait passively for life to unfold, but engages intentionally, guided by the understanding that Allah is orchestrating outcomes. For instance, when faced with a difficult relationship, a person with faith may respond with patience, compassion and wise communication, trusting that Allah will guide the situation to its best resolution. In business or personal endeavors, decisions made with sincerity, integrity, and reliance on Allah are more likely to yield blessings, because they are aligned with the divine will. Surrender does not remove responsibility, it enhances it, infusing actions with purpose, awareness and trust. Real-life examples illustrate the power of this approach. A student struggling with repeated setbacks may find that trusting Allah and continuing to strive brings unexpected opportunities that surpass initial expectations. A parent facing challenges with their children may experience breakthroughs once they stop trying to control outcomes and instead rely on patience, guidance and consistent effort. A person burdened by financial hardship may discover avenues of sustenance or opportunities for growth that were invisible until they responded with hope and trust, rather than fear and frustration. In every scenario, surrender does not mean inactivity, it means purposeful action combined with unwavering reliance on Allah. The heart that responds with faith and surrender also develops resilience against shaitan and internal doubts. When a believer recognizes that uncertainty, fear or despair is part of the test and not the final reality, they become fortified against negativity. The whispers of doubt lose power because the heart is grounded in trust. The believer sees challenges as temporary, mercy as inevitable, and divine wisdom as unfailing. By integrating faith with surrender, every difficulty becomes a stepping stone, every moment of confusion becomes a lesson, and every opportunity for guidance becomes apparent. This mindset transforms life from a series of burdens into a journey of hope, growth, and preparation for the blessings Allah has written. Real-life examples of transformation and divine intervention demonstrate how Allah communicates with those who are attentive and responsive to His signs. One person may feel lost after a series of setbacks, convinced that their efforts are meaningless, only to experience a sudden shift when they least expect it. Perhaps they stumble upon a verse of the Quran that resonates deeply with their current situation, or a reminder from a friend sparks insight and clarity. These moments may seem coincidental, but they are deliberate acts of guidance from Allah, designed to redirect the believer toward hope, growth, and opportunity. A simple conversation, a timely message, or even a fleeting thought can carry immense weight, providing direction when the path seems unclear or impossible. Consider the story of a young woman who struggled with repeated disappointments in her career. She had prepared, studied, and worked tirelessly, yet doors continued to close, leaving her frustrated and doubtful. She began to feel that her efforts were in vain, and questioned whether her prayers were heard. One day she came across a lecture that addressed patience, trust, and the unseen workings of Allah in times of trial. As she listened, it was as though every word was meant for her specifically. She reflected on her struggles differently, noticing how each delay had taught her resilience, strengthened her skills, and prepared her for opportunities she had not yet imagined. Within months, an unexpected position opened that perfectly aligned with her abilities and values. What initially seemed like repeated failure had been divine preparation for a far greater blessing than she could have orchestrated on her own. Similarly, consider a man burdened by personal loss, who felt disconnected from hope and purpose. He was overwhelmed by grief, wondering how life could continue after such heartache. In the middle of his despair, he happened upon a verse of the Quran, emphasizing patience and reliance on Allah, reminding him that hardship is temporary and mercy is ever present. This single moment shifted his perspective, allowing him to approach his challenges with acceptance and courage. Gradually, he found himself making better decisions, forming meaningful relationships, and discovering opportunities that had seemed impossible in the shadow of grief. This example illustrates that divine guidance is often subtle, appearing as moments of clarity or insight, rather than dramatic interventions, yet its effects are profound and life-changing. Even in small, everyday instances, divine intervention manifests through signs that encourage reflection and action. A parent struggling to nurture their child may encounter advice, support, or a chance encounter that provides a solution at precisely the moment it is needed. A student grappling with anxiety over exams or future plans may be reminded through a verse, a friend, or a circumstance that Allah's plan is greater than their fears. A person feeling isolated or disconnected may receive an unexpected opportunity to serve, connect, or contribute, reigniting purpose and hope. These stories highlight that guidance is not always spectacular or grandiose. It is often quiet, precise, and deeply personal, meant to meet the individual exactly where they are in their journey. The transformative power of recognizing and acting on these signs cannot be overstated. When the believer is attentive, reflective, and responsive, they begin to see patterns of mercy, direction, and preparation in their life. They understand that no challenge is wasted, no moment is random, and no guidance is insignificant. Each event, each encounter, and each whisper of clarity carries meaning, serving as a stepping stone toward growth, faith, and blessing. Divine intervention is not limited to major life events. It is present in small, seemingly ordinary experiences that, when recognized, have the potential to profoundly impact a person's mindset, choices, and destiny. These examples also show that transformation is rarely instant. The believer's response, patience, and persistence are integral to the process. It is through consistent trust, reflection, and action that the guidance becomes manifest and the signs become clear. When people learn to recognize Allah's timing, His methods, and His wisdom in both large and small matters, they develop resilience, gratitude, and awareness. This understanding allows the believer to navigate life with hope and certainty, prepared to embrace the blessings that Allah has already written for them. Preparing your heart for the blessings Allah has written requires intentional effort, patience, and consistent reliance on Him. Life is full of unseen opportunities and hidden mercy, but a heart that is distracted, burdened with doubt, or unprepared may miss them. To prepare means to cultivate awareness of Allah in every moment, to seek Him through prayer, dhikr, and reflection, and to align your intentions, actions, and thoughts with His guidance. It involves recognizing that while you cannot control every circumstance, you can control how you respond, how you seek help, and how you open your heart to receive what Allah has destined. Preparation is not passive,
It is an active engagement with faith, a conscious readiness for the doors of mercy and opportunity that will open when the time is right. One essential part of preparation is purifying the heart from negativity, resentment, and distractions that cloud judgment and obscure guidance. A heart filled with anger, envy, or despair struggles to see the blessings that Allah places before it. By consciously letting go of grudges, forgiving others, and focusing on gratitude, the believer creates an inner environment that is receptive to mercy and guidance. Similarly, aligning your mind with clarity and purpose allows you to recognize opportunities, make wiser decisions, and act with sincerity. The combination of a pure heart and a focused mind forms the foundation for receiving divine blessings, ensuring that when they arrive, they are met with readiness rather than resistance. Consistency in worship and reflection strengthens the soul and develops resilience against the trials and distractions that often accompany moments of preparation. Simple daily acts, such as morning dhikr, Quran recitation, or even brief moments of contemplation, accumulate over time, creating a protective layer around the heart. These acts serve as reminders that life is under Allah's control, and that His wisdom governs every situation. They teach patience, discipline, and trust, transforming the believer's perspective, so that challenges are no longer sources of panic, but opportunities for growth. In this way, preparation is both internal and external. It is the alignment of heart, mind, and behavior with the divine will. Another aspect of preparation is understanding the temporary nature of worldly concerns and redirecting focus toward what truly matters. A person who worries excessively about outcomes, opinions, or material gain may miss the spiritual and emotional lessons embedded in their experiences. By maintaining mindfulness of Allah, recognizing His sovereignty, and embracing a long-term perspective, the believer develops patience, hope, and gratitude. This approach transforms the way one experiences both setbacks and successes, allowing every situation to contribute to spiritual readiness. Preparation is about creating a state of balance, where the heart remains anchored in trust, even when circumstances are unpredictable or challenging. Practical steps also enhance preparation, surrounding yourself with supportive faith-centered companions, maintaining habits that strengthen spiritual and mental well-being, and taking consistent action toward goals all contribute to readiness. A prepared heart is not passive, it engages with life intentionally, while remaining mindful of Allah's guidance. When the believer practices discernment in relationships, choices, and daily habits, they create conditions for blessings to manifest fully. Preparation in this sense is a combination of inner work, spiritual focus, and deliberate effort in the world, creating harmony between faith and action. Finally, preparation involves cultivating hope and trust. Knowing that Allah's mercy, guidance, and opportunities are abundant allows the believer to remain optimistic even in uncertainty. It is an understanding that every moment of patience, every act of worship, and every sincere intention is recognized and valued by Allah, shaping the soul and positioning it to receive His gifts. A heart ready to receive blessings is a heart that has surrendered fear, embraced patience, and strengthened reliance on Allah. By preparing in this way, the believer ensures that when the time for mercy and opportunity arrives, they are fully receptive, fully aware, and fully capable of embracing the abundant blessings that Allah has destined for them.